Let's see what Rabbi Zuriel says today in Otros Musar, because we have to. It's Thursday night, so we have to discuss what Rabbi Zuriel had to say, right? We could do this every Thursday night. We'll never finish. You know, highly recommend it. They're still putting out some of his reported shiurim and other things. Okay. Talks about learning everything you have to learn. Okay. He's saying that some scholars have a complete lack of love of the Torah. Sorry, they lack a complete love of Torah. That sounds better. They lack complete love of Torah. Why? Because they like to skip things. When we were in high school, Rabbi Fine used to say, finish the Masechta, finish Shas, right? And that's how you get through learning. So sometimes people skip around. Okay? It says here, here. Or no, say. Okay, yesh l'chelek mina talmidei chachamim lemod divrei chokhmah shebatorah. Yesh l'famim shehem medalgim al inyanim hanir'im lahem beinehem kechutei erech kedei la'asok b'devarim ayoter amukim u'subachim. See, you think it's below them. There's certainly they're so simple. You think those aren't the valuable parts of Torah. So what do? They skip that, right? They like learning more lumdis sugyas. But that was more complicated. The more complicated, the deeper it is, perhaps the more important it is, right? You guys like that. There was one guy, I remember, he was learning sugya. Like, no, there's no lumdis here. It's not the type that's confusing, enjoyable for him. Yeah, but don't you want to make a siyum? Don't you want to just finish Bava Basra? I don't know, okay. People just finish Bava Kama, by the way. Nechach kotev sefer hashla. Here's what the shla had to say about it. Od musar echad tzarich ani leodia leotan ha'omerim b'mutzah divrei Torah mikolach sheshagur b'fihem. Okay. There's also saying wrong. People say things that too much an autopilot. Shagur b'fihem. They skip through it. They say too fast. What's his example? Tichon. Shtei Masrei Parashiot Shel Shtei Masar Nesiim. 12 parshas about the 12 Nesiim. In Naso. All basically the same. By Yom HaDis, Nasi with that. They Korbano Karat Kesef Echad. Achat. Just say it, by rote almost. You're not even looking at the words. Okay? Just a recitation. Just repetitive. Korim Kach Bimhirut. They read it too fast. Avira Gedolahi Biadam. That's a sin. Great sin. Kicho Oth Wa'oth Tulimbo Rivavei Rivavot Olamot Rupaniot. Every single letter is olamis. Okay? Spiritual worlds tied up to it. I don't know them, but they're there. It wasn't for naught that these matters were repeated. Fortunate is the man who actually, invests in this. He puts his eyes. He realizes he's reading the words of the Torah. The breath of his very mouth that's coming out of his mouth. How holy that is! If you would just say it right, you say it with kavanah. Then the Shla added, "Gamba Torah shebal peh b'poskim, yeshelmati Torah eitzel harav hagaon hachasid morino Rav Shlomo Zal." He's talking about the Marshal. And when I learned Torah from him, Hayinu omdim betur orach chaim siman lamed vav binyan chasirot v'tirot shel arba parshiot. Okay, we are learning just the technical thing. Siman lamed vav. What does it say? Is it written with a vav or not? Yod or not? Bechor malay, zechor malay, hotzi malay. It says all these three words should be written malay with the vav. L'chulei ad gemar kol siman haya korei milah b'milah. Even though it's just a technical list, he read it word by word. If I read it quickly because there's nothing there that requires much, iyun, as they say, looking too much in depth. Okay, or even pshat. I know this word is malay, this word is chaser. It's just a technical thing. The ga'ar bi harav echasid bimod meod. Very upset. He denounced me. He gave me some musr. He says we have to cherish, but in this case we have to prize. Lachshiv in some cases means make it important. Okay, the words of the Torah, say them nicely and with fear and trepidation. Ki advarim esamachim lifnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. This is what makes God happy. Ad kav l'shonim. So Rav Zuriel continues, V'yesh l'famim shetalmid chachamim medalech inyan b'gemara. So until now they were talking about skipping Torah, reading it too fast, reading Shulchan Aruch too fast. It says also in the Gemara. Okay, Kimo agadata o inyana talui b'hashbanot mathematiyim. Agadic passages or anything having to do with math, people skip over, right? Ki lo motzei bo inyan lechadesh bo. There's nowhere room for a kiddush there. V'gam ze alul lichyot chet. This could also be a sin running through Gemara. Kol omer shmua zo na'eh. No, sorry, shmua zo na'ah. V'zo eina no'ah ma'beid honah shel Torah. It says in Eruvin Samach Dalet. Whoever says, "Oh, this sounds good. This is nice. This is a nice sugya," or this one's not such a nice sugya. What happens? He's causing the hone of the Torah to go lost. Hone is like the value of the Torah. Sometimes hone nowadays means capital, right? Again, next. Mishum zeh he's here ma'arsha, b'akdamato, shelo la'afrid b'tfus bein perushav la'alacha l'perushav la'agada. Look in the Maharsha, when he talks about his perush on, actual halachic discussion and agadic discussion, it's all one lump, right? No differentiation there. He told them not to. Why not? Kidei shalomdim lo yidalgu. You realize if he puts the the agadic passages, his comments on the agada, if he made it look different, people would skip over it. Okay. Some people don't want to learn the Bible, scripture. Oh, lo rotzim lemod midrash. They don't learn medrash at all. Have you ever opened up? And there's medrash rabbah there. Have you ever opened up medrash? Yeah, some people do it. Some people don't. This all comes because people lack love of Torah. There you go. Why are you skipping parts of Torah? You don't love it. Asher kedivrei Ramchal, as the Ramchal said, Kol chalakeha nechutzim ve'osam pulot l'tova. All the parts of Torah are necessary, and they do good things for you. Echad lo nedar. None can go missing. Okay? None of them should be absent. You can't have an incomplete study of Torah. Don't skip anything. If you ever open up one book, make sure to do it cover to cover, especially the primary sources. Where are the primary sources that you have to read cover to cover? Of course, Tanakh, Mishnah, Tosefta, the Talmudim, and Mishnah Torah, right? And the Gruthers and Rif and Rush. Right? And if you're going to read Torah Shulchan Aruch, you have to do that also. Can't skip around the Torah. Just read the whole thing. It's a good thing to read. And same thing with everything else. Don't skip parts of Chavos Avos, which is surprising. Because of this, people mentioned are familiar with the Leiv Tov, the parish on Chavos Avos. So here I have the Chavos Avos I have with me here is Rav Kapach's version. What is it? It's the Arabic with his new translation into Hebrew. So you can compare it. You actually see it's quite interesting. It puts to the end of the machlokas. I remember having with someone: is it chovat halavavot or chovot halavavot? Singular or plural? There's some who say it's singular, but what does it say in the Arabic? It's right there. It's plural. Okay, so it's chovot halavavot. Either way, so there's some classic translations. They put out. Well, actually, this was already in the 1960s. Rabbi Lieberman put out his new modern Hebrew translation / commentary to Chavos Avos. And there's a whole 5 sets of it over there that they learn every day here. They go through cycles of Chavos Avos, they finish it, they just start from the beginning. And right at the beginning of Chavos Avos, there's Shar HaYichud. And what is Shar HaYichud about? It's about philosophy. It's about the existence of one God. It's reminiscent of Rambam's More Nevuchim and other discussions about how do you know there's a God, right? So originally, the author of the Leiv Tov, who basically has on his printing, he has the old translation. I think it's the Ibn Tibon translation of Chavos Avos that everybody knows, and below he has modern Hebrew translation, which is a little bit more elaborate because he basically wove the commentary so it's easier to understand into the translation. And it's written in modern Hebrew. That's on the bottom. So you can read them in parallel. And initially, he did not do that for Shar Yichud. Instead, he included a long hakdama about how, basically, in the last few hundred years, the more Haredi approach is to skip over these types of things. By the way, there's a lot of sources that indicate that. Even the Vilna Gaon is in there, So this isn't the best thing for yeshiva guys to learn. You can go see it. So We're using the Lev Tov that was printed in the 90s. It's the second edition. I don't think it's the second printing, it's the second edition. Now, what we're familiar with is the Lev Tov, this new one, where he concludes his Hakdam about how, it's the very not Haredi thing to learn things like Shar Yichud. So I basically decided to print Shar Yichud here with the old translation and no commentary whatsoever. And people get the message from here that that's what you skip over. And indeed, for a few years here, when they're learning Chavos Avavis, they get the Shar Yichud, they would skip it. It's not right. I can understand. There are people nowadays, a lot of Haredim and Sfardim and other people who are not as rational might even get offended by learning these types of things. And that's totally fine. But I was telling them, if Shar Yichud was good enough for Rabbeinu Bachye, it should be good enough for us also, right? And I said that with seriousness. It wasn't a joke. And indeed, then Chavrusa, who sits here, actually has a copy of the first edition of the Lev Tov on Chavos Avavis, and you open it up there, and you see that you originally did put in a parish. He has the same hakdama there about how it's difficult to read this. It might be shake your faith in God, etc. But so I haven't written a new Lev Tov on this, but I am including two different perushim on the entire Shar Yichud. So here's Shar Yichud with two classic perushim, so that you have what to learn. And later editions, he just removed those also. Just here's Shar Yichud exactly as it is the text. Good luck. I'm not touching with a 10-foot pole. So what does that lead to? Like I said, people not learning it. But a few months ago, when they got the Shar Yichud, I said this again, you shouldn't be skipping Shar Yichud. So the rabbi got the message and says, you know what? Fine. So we're first going to read through the entire Lev Tov introduction to Shar Yichud, and then we'll actually go into Shar Yichud. And they did. It took them like 3 months, but they did it. And that was 2 cycles ago. So the last time they got to it, like, okay, we were Yotzei Dechova. We did this, even though, like I said, they do Chavos Avavis over and over again, but at least one time they didn't skip Shar Yichud. Okay, don't skip Shar Yichud. I understand. Like I said, if it was good enough, if it was included in there, and you think the book has value, don't skip it ever. Okay, even if you don't necessarily agree with it. And by the way, maybe there are things that are machlokas in there. You read all sorts of things. The Gemara doesn't shy away from having machlokas. Yeah, we all reject this opinion. We read having Mishnayos have a singular opinion in it that's not lahalacha. Yeah, it's still part of the Mishnayos, right? Yeah. So it should be a lesson for the rest of us.